Welcome to the 247th episode of the Video Games podcast, where we talk about any game at all, including new stuff, old stuff, and anything in between. If we are playing it, we'll be talking about it. Today we are recording on August 25th, 2021. My name is Brad Galloway. I am the editor of GameCritics.com, and 50% of this here show with me is the man who has a lot to talk about today, Carlos Rodella.
We sure do. We have a lot of games, a lot of housekeeping. Man, let's just get right to it. Should we just skip all the pleasantries?
Yeah, let's just do it. We have a really big show, folks. We got a lot of games to talk about, and I feel like there's a lot of other extra stuff to talk about, tangential or not. Let's just get to it. So, folks, as you know, Carlos and I share a living arrangement, big house, old house, very well done, good craftsmanship, but we split it right down the middle with a strip of duct tape. On my side, in terms of housekeeping, I don't think... I have one tiny thing. Carlos, what is on your side of the housekeeping?
I don't know how you keep it so clean.
I'm just naturally tidy, I guess.
I kind of am too, but maybe not after seeing your side of the house. Well, really quickly, obviously we won't talk about it on this show because we have too much stuff to talk about, but the Xbox Showcase happened. Gamescom is happening right now. What's it called? Opening Night Live happened today.
Yeah,
exactly. So maybe let's cover that next episode, or even we could do a small, short, special episode.
Yeah, very possibly. I was sitting here. I was very busy today. I had a lot of stuff going on. My in-laws are still in town. My son had a thing going on today. I had to do some roof repair, which I'm still kind of in the middle of. I had no time at all to see the Gamescom stuff, but man, my inbox was blowing up. It was just started the day literally with 2 emails because I did a bunch last night, and I'm over 200 now, so I got a whole bunch of stuff to go through tonight. So yeah, not now. I haven't caught up on anything, haven't watched any trailers, but yeah, that's a lot of stuff. Speaking of Gamescom, just really quickly, I do want to give a heads up to people that I did once again do the sign language interpreting for the Xbox Showcase. So in case you are a person who needs sign language, you are probably not listening to this podcast. But if you know someone who does need the sign language, please let them know that stream exists. You can find it. Just search Xbox Gamescom 2021 ASL, and that feed will come up. And please feel free to share that with anybody you know who might need the sign language. There you go.
Yes, it's awesome you do that. And also, I just thought of something. You are on camera for those things.
It's
so
true.
Maybe next time you do one, wear the Video Games podcast t-shirt.
They will not allow that, but that's a good idea. No, you have no idea how strict that thing is when we go there. All of the little, I'm not even sure how much I can even talk about, but there's no way that I'm choosing my own clothing or even what I'm even doing. It's totally under the control of the production team.
Yeah. It's no problem. I will, maybe I'll try to sneak on the stream somehow.
There you go.
And I just run by this screen.
Just streak through.
Yeah. Get this guy out of here. No, wait, I don't. Yeah, I streak with a t-shirt. Streaking is usually naked, right? So I don't want to be. I want to wear a t-shirt.
Plus a t-shirt, yeah. Or just hold up the shirt.
Oh my goodness! Moving on. Black Myth trailer came out, which looks really, really cool. It's based on an old Chinese legend or Chinese anime or story where you're a monkey person, and it's running in Unreal 5, and it just looks ridiculously awesome. It's kind of a boss rush game.
Okay.
So if you've not checked it out, or if anybody listening hasn't checked it out, go check out the footage. It looks ridiculous. It's called Black Myth, and you're a monkey person. I believe that's the correct terminology for
the famous
people.
Monkey King character. Is that?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's like that. Yeah.
Gotcha.
So that look just kind of blew me away. Thought I'd mention that. Also, they're re-releasing Skyrim again.
I thought that was a joke at first, but I guess it's not a joke.
It's not a joke, and we were just joking about it, I think, on this podcast. And they did it, and they're adding new content. So they're actually adding some
Jesus.
DLC or something.
Can we, as a species, just move on from Skyrim? Move on. I get it's super popular. I know that a lot of people got into it. A lot of people have a lot of love for Skyrim, but there's so many other games out there. There's so much stuff has happened since Skyrim is new. Let's all just give Skyrim one last big hug. Tell it we love it, and let's just move on with our lives.
Yeah. And also let's get the next freaking Elder Scrolls game. How about that?
Or we'll just do Skyrim again.
Ugh. I was going to mention this game called Wayward Realms, but I guess I'm not going to anymore, even though I am right now.
Literally just did, yes.
I know. It's an RPG that supposedly they were going to try to do this AI director, similar to some of the other horror games where the AI kind of controls the differences of the game and looks at how you're, responding and doing things. And in an RPG, that would be amazing, and it hasn't really been pulled off very well. But the problem is, after I got excited about this idea, I did some digging and some other YouTube videos, and it seems like the team is basically either disbanded or just not really working well together. So maybe that's not going to happen.
Okay, that's about.
So you can go check it out though on YouTube. There's a kind of rabbit hole with it. It's kind of an interesting story arc. So look at Wayward Realms, and you'll get an interesting story. Lastly, two things. Psychonauts 2 is out right now for Game Pass.
Yeah, it just came out like last night, I think.
Yeah, and so now I'm going to pick it up, or I installed it just now, and I think tonight I'll be messing around with that. Big fan of Psychonauts 1. And then I don't want to really review this on the show, or I guess maybe you want to at some point, but I was just going to give my quick thought on 12 minutes.
Oh, yeah. That came out, I don't know, a week ago, a couple days ago. You and I were both really excited for this when we saw the trailer, whenever that trailer came out, last year or 6 months ago or whenever it was.
Yeah.
It kind of stealth dropped on Game Pass, and I guess everywhere else as well. And boy, I got to say, I was very surprised. In my feed, maybe like one or two people said it was okay, and basically everybody else was like, wow, this game is terrible, which I really was not expecting. I was very taken aback by that. What did you play all the way through it, or what's your quick thoughts?
I had to stop. I do not like that game.
Wow, you had to stop?
Yeah. And what I'm going to do, and this, this because you've heard me talk about this on the podcast, whenever I really don't like something, I'm going to watch the ending on YouTube.
Oh, sure. Why wouldn't you?
Well, because my point is that I'm not going to give the effort to try to finish it.
Right.
Even though it's, in quotes, a short game, you have to do things just right. And my biggest problem with it, this is like not a review, is that it's the thing that you and I both hate. It's old school adventure game where combine thing with this thing. And if you don't do it exactly right, it just doesn't work. And then you mix that element that we both don't really like, and then you give a time limit to it, which should be a cool idea and hook. Instead, it's terrible because you run out of time, and then you just got to go through all the bullshit again just to try the other combination of something. So you're constantly running out of time to try these stupid puzzle things, and you know what I mean? And sometimes you have to literally look up game facts because they just don't make sense.
Yeah, exactly.
And then one more thing. This is a minor spoiler. So if anybody would listen, just go ahead, skip 5 minutes.
Jump ahead a minute there. Jump ahead a minute if you don't want to be spoiled.
One of the main things you have to do is you have to drug your wife.
They show that in the trailer, I believe.
Oh, do they? Okay. You have to, but that it just seems weird as F because you're that's a main component to this is sneak in some sleeping pills into your wife's drink so she can pass out. And she had this whole dinner made for you and everything, and you're drugging her, and she, Anyways,
not a cool move. We have a lot of problems with that in real life. Let's not make it a game mechanic.
Yeah, it's just right now, especially. And then secondly, I heard a lot of really bad negative things about that ending, so that's why I'm going to YouTube it, because if it gets even worse, I did all those puzzle pieces just to get to the end, and then I don't like the ending. Yeah. So what a disappointment.
Yeah, very much, very much. I'm also disappointed, and I guess I'm glad that you brought this up, because I had people in my feed who wanted me to play it because they wanted my take on it, but it's dude, my time is so limited. I'm not going to play something that I basically already know I'm not going to like, because you and I are on record many times on this show as saying that we hate moon logic in old school adventure games, like the point and click kind of bullshit they make you jump through. That is my probably one of my least favorite things in all of gaming, and that sounds like that's all this game is. And on top of that, people were saying that the voice actors, all the actors they got were basically really well-known Hollywood actors, and people were telling me they thought the voices were not that great. Maybe they would have done a little better focusing their efforts getting decent voice actors and writing a better script. But hey, everybody who talked to me who finished it said they really disliked it. The story didn't hold together, and a lot of people were very frustrated and disappointed. And so I'm just not going to play it because I just don't have that much time. I can't go into a game knowing it's bad. So
yeah. And by the way, to that point of voice acting, good point. As Daisy Ridley and I forgot the other guy's name.
Willem Dafoe, isn't it?
Willem Dafoe's in it. Yeah. It's not about that. It's about that the game itself is an adventure game where you again, you have such short amount of time. You're just picking different dialogue options, and all the text and all the voiceover is just running over each other. And then on top of that, the game engine, I'm really just doing the review now.
Sure, you're just doing it, man.
The game engine itself doesn't understand whether or not the character is mad at you. So say the girl gets really mad at you because you said something and she's like, we're not talking again for a while. And then you ask her another question on the dialogue tree and she's like, back to normal. So that's broken too. So it's, I don't think it's the voice actor's fault. It's unfortunately the programming. And yeah, I'll say it again, a disappointment.
Disappointing, because we were both so stoked, but I guess that's what happens. Yeah, there you go. So there's a review, not a review, of 12 minutes.
Yep.
All right.
House clean.
House clean. The only thing I was going to say in terms of the housekeeping, just a really quick shout out to the show Miracle Workers. Did we talk about this already on the show?
No, me and you have DM'd about it. I love that series so much. It's an anthology. Go ahead and explain it.
Yeah, basically it's a cast of characters. There's 3 seasons right now. I just started season 3 last night, and each season is a completely different thing. So the cast is the same, but in the first episode, they're like people in heaven who are trying to solve a problem on Earth. In the second series, it's all the same actors, but they have new roles. They're all just like medieval people dealing with a kingdom that's got trouble. And the third series, again, same actors, but new roles. They're all in the Wild West, and they're on a wagon train going to Oregon.
Oregon Trail, yeah.
Yeah, the Oregon Trail, exactly. I love the cast. It's got Daniel Radcliffe and Steve Buscemi are probably the most famous people on the cast, but all the cast I think is really great. It's a straight up comedy series, and all of the thing that really I think like the best about it is that they take these settings, angels in heaven or the medieval or the Wild West, but they infuse it with like modern day speech. So like people are saying things that are very relatable and easy to understand, and with the kind of attitude and snark that makes things funny today. So it seems like an anachronism, but I think it works really well, and I love the cast, and it's so light and fun, and in general, it's really good-hearted as well. So I really enjoy it so much.
It's so incredible. I remember when I found it, and I never brought it up to you, and we just found it independently.
Yeah.
I love Daniel Radcliffe as a comedy actor, by the way.
Yeah, he's great.
So good. And then that woman he plays beside the main woman that he's usually like involved with, and it's like some sort of love thing. She's incredible. I feel bad.
I love her. I
don't
love
know her
so
name.
much. I think her name is Geraldine.
She's fantastic.
I forget. She's great.
I'm like drawn to whatever she's going to do in the show. And by the way, that point that's really great about it is that it takes the modern stuff that we know now, like Instagram or likes, all that kind of crap.
Yeah, exactly.
And it doesn't just say it's that. It morphs it for the time period.
Yeah.
Which is so cool. And I remember seeing the first series, and then they were talking about not doing another one because they didn't want to do Heaven again.
Right.
And then they were like, well, the only way we can do this is to just make it an anthology and change the seasons. And that's the best thing they could have ever done.
It's so good. It's so good because I do want more from these characters, right? But it's funny when we got to the end of season 1 and they solved the problem and Heaven was, Heaven had its answer and everything was fine. And we started the next series and I'm like, I'm actually really glad they did this because they already went through all the God and angel and devil jokes. Like there weren't any good jokes left, right? And you don't want it to get old. I'm really glad they changed and just did something new because now they have this whole new batch of material to mine. It's fresh, but it's still the thing that you like because the actors are still bringing it. It's great, dude. It's really great. This is the kind of thing that I would expect from like the BBC or the UK. We don't do this kind of thing that often here in America. So I'm really glad that we're doing it here. Great stuff. I totally recommend it. Miracle Workers, season 1, 2, and 3. Wonderful.
I'm so glad you brought it up again, though, because you reminded me to finish season 3. I don't think it's still going.
Yeah, I think it's still happening right now.
And by the way, I'll say this: even not having finished season 3, season 2 is definitely going to be my favorite. I think they nailed all of the parts in that, and so far I'm enjoying season 3. But like season 2, from the first episode, I was in. So I think they I don't know, something was really special there. So. Okay, moving on. That was great. Yeah. We should bring up more shows because there's so many shows.
Good stuff. Okay, so that is our housekeeping. Housekeeping's over. Lots of stuff to talk about. We're just going to plow right into it with a bunch of games we have to talk about. So checking off 12 minutes. That's done. Check. Next, Carlos, let's start it with you. You were bringing the Tales of Arise demo to the show. I don't know really anything about this other than it's, I assume, the next entry in the Tales series, which seems to have 75 games in it.
At least.
And I don't know if they're connected or they're not connected. Is this like an anthology series? Just like Miracle Workers
it kind of is like Miracle Workers, I think. Yeah, because I never can find that thread line or through line if there is one. It's an RPG. It's an action RPG. That's all you really need to know. And the demo is out right now for, I think, every system, all the consoles, maybe even PC.
Very possible.
Probably.
I don't know.
But yeah, I'll tell you a couple things about it. I played a lot of it. There's some good things and bad things, but the short answer is the graphics are pretty amazing in the fact that they're anime, action RPG, just think action RPG, Ys, all those types of games. But then also kind of a watercolor effect, which I've not seen before. Like, it's literally something I have not seen. It looks similar to Genshin Impact in the fact that it's like cartoony in a way, but this one has more depth than Genshin Impact, where Genshin Impact's more like 2D style, but this is like a full 3D world, anime characters, but there's a really cool watercolor thing going on. So I've never seen it before. And the world is just beautiful to walk around in. And the combat is action combat, but what's really interesting is that, and maybe not interesting, I just don't know why they chose this. You see monsters in the field, as you do. When you go up to them, it turns into an action battle. So it switches to another screen.
Gotcha.
But you don't need to do that. I don't know why they did that. Because, you could just see them in the field, so normally action RPG, you just attack them.
Just would fight in the same field that you found them in. Yeah, gotcha.
So I'm not sure why they did that. Maybe because there is a lot of different animations and combos, and they didn't want to do that within that area, right? Like, because, let me explain. It's similar to Final Fantasy where, like, there's over-the-top combos.
Sure.
And you level up, blah, blah, blah. Your friends help you. You have a huge party. They all have their own special moves. You have a directional pad and can basically pick any of their special moves when they're charged. So they come in and do like a fancy thing. And it just takes over the whole screen. It's very old school Final Fantasy, or I guess 15 as well. Just crazy over the top killing, destruction spells. And so that's really cool, but it does get a little old quick. I don't know if you're like that with like Final Fantasy games and you're like, yeah, I've already seen this animation 2,000 times.
That's my biggest problem with these kind of games, whether it's an RPG or an action RPG. I don't personally get like a ton of enjoyment out of like doing 10,000 battles, right? And I know that some people dig that, and that's cool. I don't want to yuck your yum if that is your thing, but for me, I feel like it just ends up like taking up a lot of time, and I would rather do something else. Like, I'm more interested in like what's happening in the story, or maybe if there's something in there that I'm like manipulating myself, like if I'm real-time changing things in the combat to kind of get different effects, or like if there's something kind of crunchy to it. But like if it's just like doing the same combat over and over where you're attacking and do a couple spells and you're not really doing all that much, but there's a million battles, I get really burned out by that.
Well, that's one thing, but the other thing is I'm talking specifically about the animations themselves. Like, how they take over the whole screen and you're like, well, can I just get to the part where it takes off the damage?
Is it kind of like a pre-rendered, like a mini cutscene type thing?
Yeah, okay, that's what I'm talking about. Yeah.
Gotcha.
And so, I get, you don't want to do 8,000 battles sometimes. That's, grinding. But this is more like I was just a little annoyed by how much I had to see these same cutscenes. Because you're doing them all the time because your heroes that are helping you are always charging up their, abilities. The other thing that was weird is unless I turned it on story mode, and I just had it on normal originally, the enemies are bullet spongy to hell.
Man, okay.
And that's weird because, like, again, these guys are doing these special moves. I've brought down the moon and smashed it on your face. And, oh, wait, the bird isn't dead yet.
You got to bring down the moon like 2-3 more times, man.
Like, I pull out a gun from the shield. It's like a shield gun. Shoot the bird like 85 times. The bird's like, half health gone.
Oh, yeah.
So that really bothers me when that happens in RPGs. I don't get why they do it. That said, it is very relaxing to play. I love action RPGs in general, so I do like it, and I like the look of it. So there's some negatives and positives. The other thing that's kind of cool is that anytime in the field, you can talk to your companions. So there's a lot of story time. You go to the rest stop, a little campfire, you can cook. There's a whole cooking thing. There's a lot of talking at the rest stops. There's a lot of kind of dialogue there. And I think that's it. That's my short thing. Oh, in the beginning of the demo, you can pick 4 or 5 different characters, and each one fights, quite different. Like, one's just like melee, one's a sword, one's whatever. Right. So that's kind of cool. So the demo lets you just kind of see one main character all the way through. And yeah, I don't know. I'm kind of on the fence with it because mainly of that ridiculous over-the-top cutscenes that happen so much. And then lastly, the right trigger is roll. Right trigger is dodge roll.
That's no good. Can you remap it?
You can't remap it.
Oh, man. I'm out, dude.
And I'm a Mr. Dodge Roll. That's my middle name.
It's your bread and butter.
And then also, check this out. These are all negative, sorry. right button is attack. Right button. Okay.
Why? You mean the shoulder, like the bumper kind of thing?
The bumper. Okay.
Are you just constantly hammering it?
No, wait. It doesn't feel good to hit it either. Yeah. And then A, B, and Y or something, or whatever your console you're on. Some of the base buttons are attack, but they're powered attacks, so they need like energy. So it's a confusing thing. Like I'm hitting those buttons, but I can't really button mash them because I don't know if I have enough power for all of them. So I go back to the right button, and I'm like, what am I doing with my life?
That sounds like a pretty crazy setup, dude.
It's a weird setup, the weird cutscenes. I'm on the fence. I love the look of it. That's my review of the demo. I don't know. There's things to like there.
Well, this is a long-running series. There's a lot of fans who love the Tales of games. It's never been something for me, so I can't really say one way or the other. But hearing what you're talking about it, I think I'm going to give that one a pass. And it sounds like you're probably going to give it a pass too. I'm not hearing a lot of love here.
Yeah, I might give it a pass just because I know there's so many games coming out right now in the fall.
Oh, dude. Yeah, infinite games. Yeah,
there's just so many, so I might. Yeah. Moving on.
Okay.
Wait, that's your line.
Yeah, but I mean, you can say it too.
Okay, I'm going to say your line sometimes. Moving on.
Okay, so a little bit of an unconventional thing today. Everybody who listens to the show, or if you are a frequent listener, knows that I rarely ever play the PC. The only thing that really gets me on playing the PC is like a porno game, because that's like the only place you can play them. And we've discussed them here.
But we're supposed to review those on the show. We never did yet.
We never did. Well, yeah, I got a surprise in store for you, so just hang tight for a second. But for one reason or another, I was contacted by a couple of different people, and they each convinced me to, lower my PC ban and jump on and play something this week. So I actually played like 3 PC games this week, which is crazy for me and very, very unusual. So everybody who's a frequent listener, buckle in and just, it's shocking, surprising, very strange twist of events. First one that we played, The Adventures of Dinobot and Tiara. This is a 2D side-scrolling infinite runner where there's a bit of a story. I forget what the story is because it's very slight. But you control 2 characters at the same time. Dinobot is looks like, what is it, Triceratops, something like that?
I don't know about dinosaurs, but he's the one with like the big head and the horns, and
yeah, I believe it's a Triceratops of some sort. Tiara is like a little kitten, I believe it is, who sits on his back. You push one button and Dinobot jumps. You can push another button and then Tiara jumps off of his back to give you kind of to jump even higher. And the reason you want to jump high is because as you're walking from left to right, little, candies or something kind of come by in the sky, and you want to catch them all for sport purposes. Yeah. So that is the gist of what the game is. Hand-drawn graphics, very simple. Carlos, what did you think of this game?
First off, it's so funny that the first time you come back into the realm of PC, foreshadowing, by the way.
Foreshadowing.
A lot of these games are maybe, top tier PC games. So I was like, man, I could have brought you into the PC world in such a different fashion. I'm sorry I foreshadowed. But this game is, it's a mobile game. It feels like a mobile game. Yes. I said that before the podcast.
Yes.
There's one positive thing I'll say about it.
Okay.
In general, though, it is Moon Patrol. Remember Moon Patrol?
Way back in 1984 or something.
Yeah,
like that,
I think they redid it at some point. Yeah, they did for it's coming out for what's his butt, Tommy Tallarico's new in television.
Oh yeah,
I'm a deep cut guy, motherfucker.
Forgot that was even a thing, but okay, go ahead.
I know I'm just like proud of myself right now because I know everything about video games. Anyways, his in television does look fun, but I interviewed him at some point. So they are redoing Moon Patrol. Moon Patrol was a game where you just go from left to right, which is what all these infinite runners do, and you always have to jump and be wary about like things in the road, like obstacles
come shooting at you. And stuff. Yeah,
and it's like a one-shot dead kind of Moon Patrol game, right? That's you just one shot and you're done. And this is the same thing, but you can get hearts if you go far enough, and then they give you basically a one-up. So that's the game, and that's it, really. You can jump, and then your dinosaur can jump, and then the cat can jump. But that's weird. When you jump, you can also make the cat jump, so he can jump higher, right? Because you're up in the air.
Yep.
And it's all that's the whole thing of the game, basically trying to figure out that thing. Because like birds and weird shit will fly at you, and you got to jump over them or stay underneath them. Again, very Moon Patrol. for the people who know what I'm talking about. And I'll say the other positive is these are the positives.
You're laughing. I hear you laughing.
Well, it's a mobile game. I can't really give it a lot of praise. It uses the controller or the mouse. I really like the mouse because with the mouse, I got in this like left click, right click combo.
Okay.
And it felt so much better than the controller because the controller I just felt like I kept hitting the wrong button and just dying all the time. And so like with the mouse, I actually got in a little bit of a flow and I got like 78,000 points. Not going to brag.
That seems like a lot.
It's a lot. I don't know what that means, and I did a couple of stages. So yeah, it's kind of fun and relaxing with the mouse. Other than that, come on. Come on. Like I don't know what to say. By the way, also when you get hit, it doesn't even do a hurt animation. It just does a green glow. And I'm like, am I supposed to know that I got hurt?
I guess that's what the green glow means, I suppose.
You get a green glow and then it just stops. The game's just like, no, we're over. It's not really a game. Okay. But the only positive I'll say is that when you get in that flow, that's what these infinite runners are for.
Sure.
This game works really well with the mouse. Left, right click, left click, right click. And I was like in a flow for a bit, enjoying it.
All right. That is a very generous assessment.
Thank you.
Yes. Very good job.
You know me.
So there's something I didn't tell you about this game, Carlos, and I didn't want to tell you because I wanted your absolute honest opinion.
Which did you make this game?
I did not make this game.
Oh, I would have felt so bad.
You didn't say anything really bad about it, though.
I didn't. I was being very nice.
You were pretty nice to it.
Yeah.
No, so kind of along those same lines, though, this game was actually made by one of the Game Critics staff. So it wasn't me. It was made by Daniel Weissenberger, longtime, one of our core members, one of the pillars of the Game Critics writing staff. Love Dan, amazing guy, amazing writer. I don't know what possessed him to make this game, but he made this game, and he's like, would you please talk about it in the show? And
nice.
I felt weird about it, right? Because I'm like, well, I know you, Dan. Like, we're friends. We've known each other forever. Plus, you're like a writer, and I'm your editor, and this is kind of weird. But I knew that you didn't really know Dan, and you didn't know anything about this, so I wanted you to talk about it honestly so you could give this very honest assessment. And folks, Carlos had no idea. I didn't tell him anything about this until literally just now.
I know. I somehow feel duped. I don't know what that means.
Yeah, no, that's that. I mean,
but
kind of.
But it is good because I did give my honest opinion. It does feel like, and this is not even a negative thing, and I think I was kind of positive, it feels like a game I would play on my phone, which everybody plays games on their phone, right?
Sure.
So it's not like something I would boot up Steam for is all I'm saying, right?
Exactly.
It's cool that it's on there, but like if I had this and turned my phone sideways, I'd be playing it for a while. You know what I mean?
Right.
Although I would suggest make that green glow when you get hit, like an oomph sound or blood or something. Because
let's see the cat explode. Let's do that.
Yeah, because some sort of damage needs to be done in this. That's my biggest. Yeah.
Which is cool. I think it's making a game is great. I give praise to anybody who makes one. Good good on Dan for doing this for whatever reason he made it. If he wasn't somebody who I had a personal relationship with, I would have never played this game. And it's like you said, it's like a little short quickie, something you'd play on your phone for a minute. I jumped into Steam, played it for like a minute, and I'm like, I'm good. So, yeah.
You got it. We got it. And also, I got to bring up Moon Patrol, so that's
there you go. Nice little tangent out of it, too. All right, Dan, we played your game. We talked about your game, and I feel like we did it in the most genuine and honest way possible, so I do not feel dirty now. That's good. Good on me. And also good on you, Carlos. Thank you for being my unwitting test subject.
You're welcome. Do it again next time. I'll try it again. I like it, kind of.
All right, that was the adventures of Dinobot and Tiara, now revealed to be created by Game Critics' longtime staff writer, core member of Game Critics, Dan Weissenberger. Okay, moving on. I was also talked into playing a PC game by a developer who is just a developer, has no relationship with me or Game Critics, just a regular developer out there. But they really were looking to have their game covered, and I said, sure, we can do this. Mech Armada. I believe it's in early access right now, I think. I meant to look that up before we got on the show, and I forgot. Basically, it is a kind of an isometric game where Earth has been taken over by mutants or aliens or something, and a scientist has come up with a kind of robot, a mech, if you will, that you can mix and match the parts on, and when you shoot enemies, it builds up a little energy meter, and when your energy meter is full enough, you can instantly create a second mech right alongside you. And that's just how it goes, right? You kill mutants, build up the energy, get enough energy, make more mechs, and so you kind of like reinforce yourself as you're going on each battlefield. And I believe, Carlos, correct me if I'm wrong, there's also kind of a time limit because it seemed like this purple fog kind of rolled in after a while. And if you weren't
Yeah.
killing enemies fast enough, that purple fog would catch up to you and then you would just like die. And it seemed like in that respect, kind of like a roguelike perhaps, because it seems like they want you to go on like runs rather than like some kind of long campaign. Does that seem correct to you?
Yeah, it's so tricky because I don't see any purpose in that like fog. I know what you're saying, like they're trying to make you go fast, but this is a strategy game, so that
Yeah,
to me it felt like at odds
I
with
agree. I
what this
agree.
game was, especially because newsflash, you can die fast.
Yes,
Like,
very fast.
yeah, I mean, you got to basically upgrade your stuff, and I guess there is a kind of roguelike element in the fact that after you die, you're still picking stuff up, and you're still going back to the home screen where you're upgrading and creating more bots. So, but then you can add, health to them so they can get stronger for next time. But yeah, even my best bot near the end of like last time I played it, this awesome bot with all these two different guns and extra health thing in my body part and 2 shots,
Yeah,
and I'm
yeah,
dead from like a tail of a monster.
yeah.
So, and what's interesting, they're also doing a strategy where it's like they're disposable. So even though you work really hard on these bots, as long as you pick up, like you said, energy on the field, which is a unique kind of thing, you can like deploy new bots. So it's like you just when you think you're screwed, I picked up a battery and I had one guy left who was just a health bot. He was like not going to do anything besides heal people,
Right.
but I was able to buy me some time to put down another bot,
Yeah.
and then I somehow won that match. So it's interesting. I keep wanting like a tactical game that I'm going to love.
Yeah.
But this, like you said, is, I think, much more a roguelike than I would like.
It's interesting because I was really drawn to this trailer, and I think that's originally how I ended up talking to the developer. I think the trailer is great, and when I actually started playing the game, I remember being surprised because I was like, wow, this feels a lot different than I thought it was going to feel based on what I saw in the trailer. It didn't exactly, it wasn't exactly what I was expecting, but I think it's kind of a cool idea. I mean, I definitely agree with you. Not a fan of the rushing, that purple fog that like kind of like cuts you off if you don't kill things fast enough. Not a fan of that. I don't really want time limits in my strategy games like that. I mean, cool, do your own thing and have a new idea. But for me, that pressure is kind of unwelcome. I really want to take my time. I want to like strategize. That's what I enjoy about the genre, right? So
Yeah.
especially with which I do think is actually a pretty cool idea. I do like the idea of getting this energy and then reinforcing your troops like on the spot. Pretty
Yeah.
cool. I'm,
I
I'm
do
in
like
favor
that.
of that idea. Yeah, it's a good idea. But at this point, it feels really rough and really early. There's a lot of areas that need to be fixed. It seems like it's got some potential. And as I was playing, I'm like, okay, this is cool. I bet like in 6 months, this would be kind of killer. But right now, very early. But I guess I'm interested to see where it goes. So we'll see. Just as a little quick addition, before the show, I was asking people for any comments on the games that we're going to be talking about today, and we did get a comment on this one from one of my good personal friends. His name is Alex Connolly. Wonderful guy. He's an artist. Wonderful artist. I bought many pieces from him, and some are actually hanging up in my home. And he says, man, Mech Armada was a letdown. I'm sure there's room here for growth, but right now it couldn't be more boilerplate. Here's gaming's dirty little secret. Sometimes adding mechs just isn't enough. So
Hmm.
definitely coming down on it harder than you or I did, but he's got some opinions there. Thank you for that comment, by the way, Alex. So yeah, I think I'll come back to it like in 6 months or whatever and see how it's coming. It feels like it's not quite ready by any means, but I feel like there's the beginnings of some good stuff here.
Yeah, and to its credit or whatever, it is early access. I just looked it
Yeah.
up.
Okay. Thank you.
So, and that makes sense because it does feel like, the beginning of a game. And they're talking about like patch 0.2,
There you go. Yeah.
So, but that being said, I think we do say some positive things about it because I like the concepts of on the
Yeah.
field
I love the
upgrading.
concept. Yeah. Absolutely.
And as I'm looking at some of the pictures, like some of those mechs later on look badass,
They do. Yeah. They do.
but mine did not. Like
Yeah.
mine were like pretty bad. So like if I don't like die in 1 shot or 2 shots later on, I can see really digging it. So yeah, we'll definitely check it out again, and it's in our library. So
Yeah, for sure. I will come back to it, and once it's had some patching, and once it's come a little further down the road. And as everybody knows, I'm not really Mr. Early Access anyway. So I want to see something that's much closer to being finished. That's just how I roll. But I like what I'm seeing so far. I see definitely some potential.
yep.
All right, that is Mech Armada, currently in early access on PC. Moving on, Carlos Cloud Garden. This is a game. I gave you a code for this, didn't I?
Yeah, I played
Okay,
it.
good. Yes, okay, good. We were provided a code for this by the developer to talk about it on the show, which we are doing right now. This is going to be, I think it's already out in PC and early access, but it is coming to a 1.0 release to Xbox, where I played it. And did you play it on PC or Xbox? Where'd you play it?
Steam.
Steam. Okay, so you
Yeah,
played it on
PC.
PC. This is a very strange one. This is a game that I struggle to even kind of describe what it is. Basically, it's a gardening game, but it's also like a puzzle game, but it's also like a super chill, relaxing game.
I would
Uh,
call it a puzzle game and not mix words because gardening would I think of Harvest Moon, you know?
yeah, it's not a farming game by any
It's like a
means.
straight up puzzle game in my
Okay,
opinion.
okay, that's
Yeah.
fair. That's fair. I can understand that. Basically, what you do is you get. I'm tripping over myself on this one. So you get a chunk of area. Like it looks like post-apocalypse, right? So maybe you'll get like a chunk of an overpass, maybe a chunk of abandoned roadway, maybe a rickety house or something that's falling down, and it's just like a little chunk of it floating in air. So it's just kind of like an abstract presentation. You get a couple of seeds, and there's like a whole tutorial that kind of explains it. I'll just cut to the chase here. You get a couple seeds, and you place them on this area, which you can rotate around, and you can look at all sides of it. Once you put a seed down, what's weird about this game is what makes the seed grow is by placing other objects in the environment. So let's say, for example, you have a grass seed. You place it on the ground like a piece of abandoned roadway. You put the seed there, and then you put down a garbage can next to it. And simply placing that garbage can next to it makes that seed grow a little further. And you'll put down like a mailbox, and then the seed gets even bigger, and the grass grows. And once you hit a critical mass with that grass, it'll sprout seeds. And then you grab those seeds, and you need to plant those seeds and make those seeds grow. Each chunk of the land that you get has like a target. So you want to reach like, I don't know, 100% of the maximum growth or something. So you have to carefully place the seeds so that you want to stimulate 3 or 4 or 5 seeds at the same time with your items because you have a limit of the items. And you want to collect all the seeds as soon as possible. And you want to plant those as soon as possible so then they have time to grow. But basically what you're doing is you're just making stuff grow on chunks of post-apocalyptic landscape.
Yeah.
So that sounds kind of crazy. I wasn't sure what to make of it at first, but I kind of got into it. So that's the gist. Carlos, what did you think of Cloud Garden?
Yeah, it's such an interesting concept because it's basically, if you think about it, it's kind of depressing in a way or positive. I don't know however you look at it, but you're basically saying the world's over and now nature's going to take over.
Because yes.
That's what you're doing. Each scene is like you're saying, okay, there's a car here and there's some tires. Well, let's put fucking fungus all over it and ivy and let's take over this bullshit thing that man made.
Yes.
I'm getting deep here.
Reclaiming the stuff that man has done.
Yeah, that's what this game is. That really is what this game is. By the way, it's a very cool pixel art style.
Oh, I love the visuals, yeah.
And it's beautiful, and it's very, very responsive when you can move things around and zoom in. So you always feel like you have a handle on, the whole map. It's a little confusing on what does what. Remember that game we just played where you had to put a farm down and it gave you 15 points?
Oh yeah,
Islands.
Islands, yeah.
It's similar to that because certain things you put in the world, just put a tire down somewhere. It's if you put it in the corner, it gives you 5 points, but if you put it over here, it gives you 10. And did you notice that it changes?
Yeah, when you put an item down, there's a little circle that appears around the item, and it's strange because these little areas are 3D areas, but when you put the item down and the circle appears, it's a flat 2D circle. But anything that you can see through the circle, even if it's further back in the environment, will be affected by that item. So it's kind of mind bending a little bit. I get what you're saying. You just have to kind of move the thing around until it seems like you're going to get maximum seed growth there.
Yeah, and you don't know how you do that really, which is interesting. But yeah, and at some point you there's a couple other things where you get seeds from the environment, but then you actually are building a seed on the side.
Yes.
So you get things to build more seeds. Anyways, that's what happens. That's the whole game. It's a puzzle game, in my opinion, and it's relaxing. I had a good time with it. But I'll tell you where the real fun's at.
Okay.
After I beat a few stages, it was you unlock things for creative mode.
Yes.
So basically by winning boards, you unlock stuff. So I went to creative mode, which I normally don't do in games.
Okay.
Weirdly enough. And I had a great time. And I will tweet a picture after this podcast of a scene that I made because it's really relaxing and cool. I made a scene of post-apocalyptic scene with all this ivy everywhere and an old, street and a satellite dish and a skateboard just like placed somewhere, and I was like trying to show like this is what life was like, before it all went to shit.
Yeah.
And I really like that mode. Like I'm not normally a person who signs up for creative mode, but like going back to the puzzle and unlocking stuff to put in those, basically like a play area.
Yeah.
But then screenshotting it. By the way, there's no screenshot, I don't think, in the game.
Oh, I think you're probably right. I didn't notice that, but now that you mention it, I think you're
I was like, where's the button to fucking take this picture of this thing I just made? Oh, there isn't one. So I had to do old school Windows G or whatever the fuck it's called, where you snapshot.
Right.
Anyways, I like that a lot about it. Like, I like that I go unlock stuff and do the create mode. But an interesting, weird little game.
Yeah, it's funny you mentioned that because I'm usually never a guy who's up for creative. That's my son's jam, and I need something that's more focused. I need a goal to work towards. I don't like just, I get into like a creative mode, and I feel like I'm just wasting my time because you're just screwing around and just like, enjoying the tools that they give you. But for me, that's just not something that appeals. If other people like that, great. I just know about me personally, I just don't enjoy that. So I didn't do it here, but I did try to like, I guess, I'm assuming you can complete the game, but like what ended up happening was I did like a series of chunks of environment, like over and over and over. I completed the first chunk, and then it was like I have like 2 other chunks that I could choose from. But I got to be honest, dude, I played it like pretty hardcore for like a day, and I thought this is really cool and chill and relaxing. And I came back to it the second day, and I had to choose this whatever next chunk. It was like the junkyard or the train station or something like that. And I started the train station, and I'm like, okay, cool, but I feel like I'm doing just like literally the exact same thing again that I just did. And I liked it the first time, but I don't know that I want to keep doing it.
Yeah.
And I got to say, my interest really started to drop off like on the second day. It still looks cool. And maybe I'll come back to it for just like one chunk here and one chunk there. But I kind of was wishing it was like shorter and just like, and just for me, right? Just because I'm a completionist, it would have been really cool if I had played it for a day, rolled credits, and I would have had a really good experience off of that. Because I don't know what else will unlock in the future. If it's just more of the same, that would be a little bit disappointing. But at the same time, the experience is supposed to be chill, relaxing, and simple, which I totally get. But it seems like there's a lot of content here, and maybe more content than I wanted.
Yeah, and it's interesting. I'm actually drawn to that creative mode because, and I think what I'll get and what other people listening might get out of it for longer, because I agree with you. I think just the puzzle part I might get tired of a bit. But is that creative mode, because it didn't seem like there was a limit to what I could put down. So I'm envisioning a very large city that I've built, because there's no reason you couldn't build. You can zoom out as much as you want. And I could basically build like a really cool scene. And that's kind of what I'm going to go for, because I just built one like rooftop or something. And I loved how it looked. You'll see it on Twitter soon.
Interesting.
And I was like, I think if they're going to keep letting me have all those items and there's no like real estate, it's just kind of an open void, then I could basically make a city or something. So that's what I might try.
Yeah, post some pictures. Check it out. Maybe I'll go back and check it out because like I said, I generally avoid creative, but that does sound kind of neat. But overall, it's a really interesting thing. Like it is definitely a game. It's definitely a puzzle game. I think that you're correct in calling it a puzzler. But it's definitely unlike anything else out there. I'm really glad that I played it. So I definitely think it's neat and worth a look. Probably not something I'm going to roll credits on, but I'm glad it exists, and I think it's just really, really curious. Very interesting.
Yeah, very interesting.
All right, so that is Cloud Garden. I believe it's 1.0 release is hitting Xbox and PC pretty soon. I believe it's September 1st, if I'm not mistaken. All right, moving on. Cardaclysm, Shards of the Four. This is a turn-based deck building quasi-roguelike where you play a wizard who has bitten off more than he could chew. He has summoned like the 4 horsemen of the apocalypse and basically wanted to get power for himself, and he got more than he could handle, so he has to beat feet and get out of there, and he becomes like on the run because he's trying to avoid the 4 horsemen that he has unleashed. As he goes, you go through these 3D worlds, picking up cards that go in your deck. You do build a deck. You pick up items that you equip on your guy, like staff that gives you like +1 to fire attack, boots that give you +1 to earth attack, and stuff like that, so on and so forth. As you walk through these worlds, you pick up these items, and there's monsters that are just out there in the world. You approach them to fight, and when you hit them, it goes to a separate screen where it's like a turn-based deck building battle. It's a very clean, very straightforward and streamlined approach to deck building, which I think is good. I think a lot of deck builders sometimes go a little bit too confusing, too complicated, which can be a problem. But this one I feel like is really easy to pick up. It's easy to read. Summon monsters, monsters fight, and that's kind of about it. It's pretty straightforward, and it does what it sets out to do. Carlos, do you know anything about this? Have you played this at all?
No, I'm looking at it. It looks like a classic card battler game. By the way, it's brought to you by publisher Head Up, and it says Whisper Games. The developer's Elder Games. But because Head Up does, I think, the Bridge Constructor games.
Yeah, they do. They publish a number of things like that, so I'm sure they're the publisher. So it's pretty good in terms of simple, approachable, straightforward. So I think that if people are looking for a very, like, if they've never played a deck builder ever, maybe this is a good one to start with because it's so simple and approachable. I've played many deck builders, and it's one of the genres I like the most, I think, now that more and more of them are coming out. I think this one is a little bit too simple for me. I feel like I could have used a little bit more depth. One of the things that I thought was really strange was you kind of have a limit to how much you can summon. And unless I'm mistaken, it seems like once you summon things on your first turn, there's not really any easy way to summon more things. So it's kind of like you see what the enemy has on the field, and you need to summon something from your deck, and it's randomly dealt, or whatever is in your hand. Between that and how much resources you have to beat them on the first turn, because if you have some monsters that get killed, you can't really summon anymore afterwards, which is a really strange choice.
Oh, that's weird.
Really strange choice for a deck builder.
Yeah.
I noticed that some creatures that I had were able to give me a little bit more resource in the middle of a battle, but very little. And so it's basically like hopefully you're going to get a good hand in the first turn. Hopefully you have enough resources to summon everything you had in your hand, and hopefully that offering will be strong enough to win. It's a very strange choice. I don't know that I've ever played a deck builder that limited you so strictly like that, but it does keep things simple. I mean, it's fine. I don't really like the graphics. They seem kind of like World of Warcraft light graphics, and I don't think it looks very appealing to me in terms of that. But I do appreciate the restrained approach, and I think this is probably a really good one for people who are new to the genre.
It looks like, beginner's card game. Not to be reductive or whatever, but like it does seem like, hey, you like card games and battlers? This is the one. We'll get you in to what this style is.
Yeah, I gotta say, I didn't click with it too much because, like I said, I've played a ton of these, and I would have liked a little bit more complexity to it, or like a little bit more options. And also, one thing I really didn't like was when you're in the overworld walking around with your character, you have to actually kill every monster on the map, which I thought also was a very strange choice, because if you're going to force me to fight every single monster on the map, then why is there even a map? It could just be a series of like menu-based battles or something. Because what is the point of walking around just to find items that are scattered around? You can just give those to me, or it could be a random drop. It's weird because I wanted to skip a couple of battles. There's like spiders over there, and I'm like, fuck those spiders. I don't want to fight those guys. And I went to the exit portal. Was like, nope, you got to kill every monster before you can leave.
What?
And I'm like, so yeah, it's really strange. There are these strange limits. Can't skip monsters. Can't summon things in the middle of battle. It's strange. It's a very strange kind of, maybe slightly too restrained feeling to it. But again, good place for beginners to start. It didn't click with me. Not something I'm going to come back to, but I appreciate what they were doing. So that is Cardaclysm, Shards of the Four.
Yeah, I don't know if we've ever reviewed another game. I can't think of one, RPG-ish or RPG-like, that where you can't skip a monster. Or, you know what I mean? Like I guess random battles don't count, but like if you can see the thing, you should be able to get away from it.
Usually you can. So anyway, okay, moving on. Coming back to the PC, and speaking of porn games, this is one that I played this week. I know this is not our dedicated adults-only spicy show. I forget how I even came across this one. I think somebody on Twitter mentioned it or something like that. And I'm like, oh, okay, that looks interesting. I haven't played an adults-only game in a while. It's called Robolife, Days with Aino, A-I-N-O. This is a supremely fascinating game for a couple of reasons. So here's the gist. It is a narrative game, kind of like a visual novel, but the gist is that you are an android developer. This is like in some random future where there's androids, they exist in the world. You're an android developer, and you find a busted up android in like a junk pile. You take that android back to your house, and you fix her up, and she wakes up, and she becomes like your, I don't know, like your friend slash servant slash android,
/
robo
sex
buddy.
partner.
Oh, for sure. Yeah,
Yeah,
for sure.
yeah.
Yeah, that's where it comes into sex partner. But like, so you have a lot of story options, and along with the story, you have to train your android. So like, she starts out with like really low stats, and you can create different parts for her. So let's say, for example, you need her to bake muffins. That's one of the objectives in the early game. You meet this person. They have some information, but they're like, I'm not going to tell you unless you bring me like the most delicious muffin in the world. Okay, cool. I got to train my android to make muffins, and so you create other arms. Like you create like the housekeeping arms, and the arms, like every part that you can create for your android has skills. So like the housekeeping arms have like patisserie skills, so they can make really good muffins. Or like you can like swap out the chest, and if you're doing construction, it'll be like, oh, the heavy duty chest, it has more strength, and so you can pound concrete blocks and do different jobs. There's like, I mean, 8 or 10 different jobs that you can design her for, and you send her out to these jobs, and she'll like kind of like auto do them, and it just tells you success or fail. And if it's a success, you earn money and earn some stats. If it's a fail, you get like minimal money, minimal stats, and got to try again. So it's basically about like training this android to be able to, number one, complete a bunch of jobs, but all these jobs lead into like little storylines. So if you do the programming job, that kind of leads into like trying to unlock her memory banks. And if you do like the cafe job, you're trying to convince the cafe owner, who is like prejudiced against androids, to be nicer and to accept them as like, maybe not people exactly, but to stop being such an asshole to androids, basically. So there's all these different storylines that you can choose to participate in, which I think is really cool. Great structure for a visual novel kind of game. It starts out a little bit too wordy, but then it kind of gets into a pretty good rhythm. And I find that like when I'm playing visual novels, whether they're adults only or not, I want a good balance between simply reading and like making a choice. Like I gotta have a good like choice, read, choice, read. That to me is a good rhythm. And I noticed that some of them really just like are giving you a book, but it's on like a game console, and I don't want that. Like if I have infinite books, dude. I can read books all the time. I want something that really leverages the medium, and I feel like this one does it really well. Once you get
Sorry.
past the what?
Can I put? You said rhythm. You said rhythm twice. That's all.
Did I say rhythm twice?
I just felt like no. I felt like Beavis. I was like, it's a sex game, It's like he said rhythm.
Oh, I mean, yeah, I mean
rhythm.
That. Sure, that's part of it.
Sorry. I had to pull out the young
That's
person
fine.
in me.
Did you feel better?
I feel better. Okay, go ahead.
Okay, good. So I think that's a really great structure. I think the writing is actually pretty good. I think the concept is cool, like having an android and training her. The training sections I think are pretty cool. The ability to change parts is pretty cool. The multiple storylines going at once is very cool. I really like that because it's going to give you a lot of replay. There's not enough time to do them all, so you're going to have to probably pick maybe 2 or 3 out of like maybe 8 or 10 different storylines, and then come back once you beat the game. And if you want to play some more, you can. I think that's great. The art style I think is great. Very well done art. Like the art is really attractive. Good colors, sharp lines, good production. Everything about it feels like very polished and nice. So that is all very good. I have not finished it, but I actually really like it a lot. I think it's really cool. It's a great idea and a great premise and great. Everything about it is like pretty great, right? So here's the strange thing. So 2 things. This is an adults only game, like I said. One thing that I dislike about it a lot is that in this particular game, the developer seems to have some kind of an obsession with like non-consensual sex, which I am like allergic to. I do not like that as a concept. I have no time for it. It's not for me. And I realize that there's like a whole discussion about whether that kind of stuff is appropriate as a subject and stuff. We're not going to get into that here and now. I'm just simply saying that for me, I do not appreciate that in my games. So like, let's say for example, he finds her broken body like in the junk pile, right? And he brings her to life by fucking her. And it's, to me, felt like really like non-consensual and gross, and I didn't care for that. And
also, there's just so many things about that. And by the way, right? This whole review, I don't know. Normally we review adults only games and I'm back to normal, but for some reason this one I'm like, yeah, he's talking about sex. But seriously, like, how do you skip that line? He fucked her to bring her back to life.
Yeah, like, or to reactivate her, I guess, basically, since she was powered down. And there's a few more things like that as it comes up in the game. Like, it seems like the developer just had that's his kink, right? Like, he just likes that non-consensual or semi-non-consensual angle to it. To me, I find that super skeevy, and I really dislike it a lot, and it kind of turns me off.
Yeah.
Not into that part of it. So there's that part. Not a fan.
By the way, again, there's just so many things I want to interrupt. I'm going to make this review go too long. But
yeah, no, go ahead.
If it's a robot, can't you just like program it to? It's already like a shady area, because like if you program a robot to like love you, then it's already weird. You know what I mean? But also, if you do that, should it in quotes never be non-consensual because you programmed it? I'm very confused about this.
Well, that's one of the hooks of the game. Like she has her own personality, right? He's not able to just like rewrite her from scratch. So she's like, at first she wants to kill him. And then they're kind of, learning to like each other in a more friendly way, like a more cooperative buddy sort of way. So he can't just like tell her to love him. Like he's kind of like dealing with the personality that's already built in within her. So it's not just like he rewrites her. But yeah, there's like the power dynamic of her being like the servant and him kind of saying, oh, well, we need to have sex because this is training for you and I'm doing research. Wink, wink, nudge, nudge.
Of course.
It just kind of feels kind of gross to me. And I realize this is an adults only game, but like, I think there are many different flavors to an adults only game, and this is one that I don't care for. But here's the really crazy thing, right? Here's the crazy thing. I feel like that this game is so good in terms of how the graphics are, how interesting it is to do these different storylines, how interesting it is to train her as a character, and I think the writing is so good when they are not fucking, that if you took all of the sex out of this game, I think this would be a very successful game.
Interesting.
Like just in general. I think it's really a good game.
Because you basically talked about all the good parts of the game first.
Yeah.
I think it's great. And I was trying to bring in the sex stuff, and you're like, no, hold on. There's some good stuff in here.
It's strange because I actually don't like the sex in this game, and I wish it kind of wasn't here, but I like the character of the robot. I think she's a great character. There's lots of funny stuff that happens. It's a cool structure. It's a great visual novel that has a lot of things for you to do, so it's not too much reading. And there's a good amount of choice, and I feel like I have a lot of agency of what happens. Like, it's great, and I think that if this was on the Switch with all the sex taken out of it, like, it would totally sell, dude. Like, if this was on PS4, totally sell. I feel like this is a winning combination, but this is like the rare case where I'm like, the sex ruins it. It makes it kind of gross.
Yeah.
So take the sex out, and I think it's a great game.
And you can tell, again, like, how you were so passionate about the actual game as this whole review. Without my Beavis head comment, Beavis head, Beavis. I just combined Beavis and Butthead. Beavis head comment.
Well, it is just you, so yeah.
It is just me. Oh my goodness, that's totally right. Wow, I'm pretty smart.
You did that instinctively. Good job.
I know. So without my Beavis head comment, you were being like, "Hey, here's the things that work with this game," and I was looking at the graphics, going like, "He's right. It looks cool, and the menus look cool." And then I saw the screenshot of him just like bending her over and fucking, and it did almost like just like the screenshot alone felt out of place because the other stuff was like high tech and interesting, and she had like a saw arm or something.
Exactly.
And then it's like
yes,
very boring, like sex type stuff looking. Anyways,
yeah, it's strange because I got into this because it was an adults only game, and I figured let's check this out. But man, I'm just like, this is a really good game that's being ruined by the sex. I wish they would take it out because I think it's really strong. So that was a strange, unexpected outcome. But I gotta say, I really like the game part. I wish the sex was gone. I'll finish it, and I think it's just really good. I hope this developer just realizes the good things that they got going for them, and maybe have a different version, or just keep going and explore those concepts in a slightly different way, because the non-con stuff really just kind of skeeves me out.
Yeah.
But other than that, good stuff. This is Robolife Days with Aino. So on PC, playing it on Steam. Yeah.
Steam. Two quick tangents, or one tangent. I guess they're both tangents. One, I do want to find more adults-only games that work, and I guess it's hard to do. Maybe it isn't, but where you have, like you said, this really interesting hook. I want an action RPG that has adults-only content, and that is hard to find. Yes, they're out there, but they're just like walk 4 steps, kill things, then you're having sex. So, right. But like a game, imagine a game like Witcher, basically, is all I'm saying, but it's just an adults-only option, right? So those sex scenes are a little more graphic, and where it makes sense. Where you have actually formed a bond with somebody, or like there's something that's really interesting. And it doesn't have to be just like, it could be zany too. But I just feel like it's hard for them to do it right, where it could feel like a whole game, and the sex part feels like part of it.
Yeah, agreed.
You know what I mean? And I think that's what I've been like searching for a while. The other tangent real quick is, while you were talking, I tried to search for that game on Bing, because I just had Bing search open, and it would not find it.
Really? It's like, did it auto-filter?
It auto-filtered it, and I don't have any filters on, I don't think, but Bing just did one, and it would only find like weird, weird URLs I probably shouldn't go to that had talked about it. And then I went to Google, and it found it on Steam.
Not cool, Bing. Auto-censoring these results. Yeah, we're grown-ups. We're consenting.
I want to find, yeah,
not
don't
cool.
Tell me
don't
what
do
to
that.
do. Okay.
Fuck Bing. All right, anyway, Robolife, Days with Aino. It's really interesting. I think people who like visual novels should absolutely check it out, but just heads up that honestly, I think the sex in this is kind of gross and I kind of don't like it. But the rest of it is pretty darn good. So,
Interesting.
anyway. All right, Carlos, back to you. King's Bounty 2. I know you were really, really excited for this one. Developer sent you a code to talk about it here on the show. I don't really know anything about this other than it's something that you're excited for, and a lot of old school RPG type dudes are also very excited about this. This is something I have no experience with. So tell us from scratch, what is King's Bounty 2?
Oh my goodness. So first off, thanks for getting the code early. I was going to pick this up. Very excited about this game for a while. I've talked about it on the show. King's Bounty 1 is basically like a Heroes of Might and Magic type game. So I think strategy, not really RPG, more just like a strategy game where you have troops and stuff. What the game that you just played recently? What was the one?
Fort Triumph.
Yeah. So think Fort Triumph, think Heroes of Might and Magic, those types of games. I love the original. Another game like it was called Disciples. I like all those types of games. And so I have been waiting for a nice strategy game with some, RPG type elements, and that's what this is going to be. But if you've seen the trailers and you know what I've talked about, I brought it up here, is it adds an actual RPG, third-person RPG, to the mix. So you actually start as one of three characters, and you know how they do with RPG, like whichever one you choose, that's your backstory and that's your character.
Sure.
Well, one of the characters is that character who's, an old warrior that finds himself in prison, but he's voiced by the guy who did Geralt from The Witcher.
Oh, yeah. Is it Doug Cockle? Is that his name?
I guess so.
Okay.
I never remember. But just before I get into the actual game, in the voice acting part of it, he chooses kind of a different version of his voice, so you can not think it's just Geralt.
Right.
But then every once in a while, he just falls right back to Geralt. It's so funny because he does like a different initiation. Nope, that's not the word. Enunciation. And then you're like, oh, that's kind of the same actor, but he's making his voice different. And then he'll just be like, what's the horse's name? Roach. Yeah, yes. You'll just hear that voice come back out.
Yeah.
So basically the game is a third-person RPG, not action RPG. It's third-person RPG in the fact that you're going around towns, you have a mount, you're talking to people, you're doing side quests, you're finding random shit and picking it up and selling it and buying stuff. So that RPG stuff. But anytime you get into a battle, it turns into the old school King's Bounty tactical battle, right? And that battle is very, very far away from the screen. So, right, like the game you just mentioned.
Kind of like an isometric sort of
isometric, top-down view. You can zoom in if you want, but basically you stay out pretty far out. You send your troops out. You have 4 archers, but they could be a lot of, different archers. And then you have your troops, you put them on the board, they have their troops, and then you do all your battling. And then your hero, the guy who you're walking around all the time, or girl, is the one who has magic abilities, which is also in all these other games, where you can do spells. And you do those spells to help out your troops or hurt the enemy. So that's the setup. Got it?
Got it.
The problems lie in the fact that this has been designed for a while. They've been working on this for a while.
Okay.
And I think it basically was designed for PS4, if, older consoles. And I'm not sure if it looks different on PC. I should check.
Are you talking about the quality of the graphics?
The quality of the graphics itself comes through that it just feels like an older game.
Okay.
And it's a little disappointing because, it's a new game in this franchise, and I've been waiting for a while. So in my mind, I just think like, oh, it's going to be using the newest graphics. But again, like I said, I understand developers, and they're working on this for a while. So I'm sure that they were like working in tandem on the console ports, and it was maybe just a little more difficult. But the models aren't awesome. Okay.
Okay. So it looks kind of basic.
It looks like... Well, remember Skyrim when we were talking about Skyrim?
Oh, man. Okay.
It looks kind of rough at times. The other part, excuse me while I burp, is this part I never thought it would bother me, but now that I've went 60 frames per second, I can't go back. And this is obviously not. It's like 24 at times or something. It just seems like super non-fast frame rate. And it's like freaking out my eyes, man.
Really?
Yeah, it's like when you watch HDTV, you can't go back to SD. Right? It feels like that to me. Like I don't know if I can go back to 30 frames or less. It feels weird.
Interesting. Okay.
I mean, you know me. I've been playing all these brand new action-y games.
Sure.
Even Greedfall just got that 60 frames, remember? Mm-hmm. And when I looked at 60 frames versus the beautiful mode, which was at 30, I almost vomited. I I spit up in my hand.
That's a pretty extreme reaction.
Oh man, I was like, how can I go back? So those are, and the other problem, these are big problems in the top. You can't run. Your character can't run
when you're in the RPG aspect, like in towns and stuff.
Yeah. And you go a lot of places, and you're looking for a lot of things. You're talking to tons of people, and there's this one mission where I had to go all around town, and I was like, it was a fucking slog, you know.
Just the walking was a slog.
Just the walking. That can be a patch. So if they're listening for some reason, I love you, and I love your developer. I love everything about you, and I love this game still. But please add a run button. It's easy to do. So that being said, the combat itself is just what I thought it would be. It's King's Bounty combat. I love it. Again, in the graphics department, it's not awesome because even if you're like zoomed out pretty far, you know, especially if you're zoomed out pretty far, it's hard to kind of see the action that's going on. Okay. It just doesn't seem like the fidelity is there, which is important in a game where like 3 golems are smashing archers. You kind of want to see that. You know?
You got to know what's going on. I mean, that's a basic.
Yeah, and when they clash every time, I always feel like I'm a little confused on what animations they're running. So okay. The biggest knock I can say is the graphics and the animations. It just feels dated. And I do like the third person mixed with the strategy, though. Like that's, I think, almost never been done before. So I love that. Like it's such a hard pill to swallow for me because I'm like, on one hand, you know, it's not, the graphics aren't up to par. It's a little frustrating with the movement, but it's also super addictive because how the game plays out is you go around the world, do side missions. Again, all the side missions end up in battle probably. And if you're doing those battles, it's based on your troops and having, like you were saying, like you like to strategize, right?
Yeah, exactly.
This is all about strategizing because you can never just walk up to a person if you don't have, like say you just lost a battle or you just lost a bunch of enemy, you know, hero units. You have to go like refill, you know, to find people who have archers and buy them. And that's the old school Heroes of Might and Magic kind of gameplay where you have to go to different places and basically recruit new people. But what's interesting is you can recruit, you know, air elementals, or when you meet like wizards, you can recruit the wizards and stuff. But then you can also recruit different types of hounds and archers. So it's literally figuring out which combination's the best, mixed not just with your playstyle, but also who you're encountering. And an interesting kind of an idea of how this game plays, besides the main campaign, is that if you say you do a side mission, like this one guy stole a bunch of chickens, and I had to like go fuck him up or whatever. Mm-hmm. Like again, I couldn't just like hit him with my sword. I had to like challenge him, and as soon as I did, he had a bunch of dudes with him. You know.
So you're going to confront a chicken thief, and the way that you solve that dilemma was by you both bringing your entire armies and fighting on a battlefield.
Yeah. On that same field, and it showed like the map shows like kind of that street, you know, and I was like, wow, they just popped out of nowhere, like West Side Story.
Interesting.
We're going to do a dance. But weirdly enough, again, it doesn't have to fit fully. The combat is still fun as shit. Like, it's just what I thought it would be. And even though all these shortcomings, I really, really like the combat. A couple of things I'll say is... Yeah, I think what's really interesting is also because they added the third-person RPG element, when you buy things from stores, like swords and armor, it's not upgrading your character. It's upgrading your troops.
Okay.
Which is so weird of a game, like because they mix these two genres together. So you buy a nice-ass sword, and it makes all your troops have, like, extra, whatever, warfare. If you buy armor, it gives them armor. You know, if you buy something for a helmet, that gives them health.
Do they all take turns wearing it? Is that how that works? Like
yeah, that's exactly how it works.
Then he passes it down the line to the next
guy.
Hey,
Jerry, it's your turn. I had this. I wanted the helmet.
I got next. Yeah.
I got next, and that guy gets hit in the face with an arrow.
Exactly.
That's how it plays out in the game, too.
Huh.
Yeah, so that's really interesting. There's a ton of side quests, so it really does feel like, you know, the action is that strategy, but it feels like a Witcher game when there's like, you go into a town, there's like 8 million little side quests you could do. And also, if people are playing it, pro tip, just go everywhere and find any sort of box you can open, because basically you need money in this game more than anything, because you're continuously buying troops, right? Because if you lose them in a battle and you win, you still have to buy new ones.
If you lose a troop in the middle of a battle, are they gone forever?
Gone
or do
forever.
They revive at the end of the battle?
They're gone forever unless they're low health, and then at the end of each screen, you can pay money again to give them their health back.
Okay.
Which I believe was in the first game as well. So all that stuff came second nature to me. I was like, it was like riding a bike again. You know, I was like, oh, I know how to do this. So, but yeah, you need money. So basically explore the land, and everywhere there's like just random chests with like stuff in them. So that's the game in a nutshell. There's a campaign like my buddy Click for Gameplay. If you haven't checked his YouTube channel out, go check him out. He covers every RPG ever. And I'm actually one of his patrons. Patreon, subscribers. He was talking about this game just now, and I agree with everything he said. But also, he was talking about how, like, it should be just really interesting that they mix these two things together. But at times, it just feels weird, Like, I don't know. I think it's mainly because those graphics and the run button. That's one of the things. But I think we both really enjoy it, and the old school like strategy elements to it, but it also it's just tricky to get into it fully, because I just feel like I'm getting pushed down every once in a while by the graphics or the controls,
Yeah, interesting. Well, I mean, I would be curious as to what the story of the development was, because I believe that Dan Weissenberger previewed this game for us at Game Critics, and if I am remembering correctly, he said the first King's Bounty came out like 20 or 30 years ago. Like,
it was a long time.
A long time ago. So maybe this was some kind of labor of love. Maybe this was a Kickstarter. I'm not sure exactly, but seems like it's been in the works for a while. Maybe a lot of people who have King's Bounty #1 near and dear to their hearts have wanted to bring this to life. So that might explain, like, the presentation and whatnot. But
right.
I mean, it sounds pretty interesting. I do like when elements kind of get mashed up, and when two people try to, switch it up a little bit. And since I don't really have any nostalgia for the original King's Bounty, I would be coming to it fresh. So I would be interested to check this one out. I think I'm definitely going to try to track it down.
And I'm glad you brought up story, because I just remember my last point. I was forgetting it earlier, and I quietly covered it up. By the way, remember we were talking about like a peek behind the curtain?
Yes.
Just now I mentioned Click for Gameplay because I was going to bring up this point, and I didn't remember it just a minute ago. So if you heard me floundering, is that a word?
It is.
I always ask myself if I use the right word, and I use the right word.
You got it. You nailed it.
It's because I was trying to remember this point, which is we were both talking about the story. It's very convoluted, like the actual campaign. Like, I don't know. Like, like there's a bad thing coming, but also you're coming back from the jail cell because these people want you to go help them, but you really don't have to help them. You have to prove yourself, but prove yourself first, and then we'll talk about the people that are coming to kill us. Like, it's confusing. So
okay.
I don't think they had like the best story runner in this, campaign.
Right.
And then the other thing he mentioned, and I will mention as well, very interesting. There's so many really cool elements. You have a skill tree like every game, RPG. And, but they're all broken up by 4 distinct areas. So power, finesse, anarchy, and order. So now in power, it's all the things I like in RPG, power fantasy guy. So it's like add more strength, add more defense, blah, blah, blah. And in finesse, there's different stealthy things or diplomacy, and then anarchy is different skills, etc. But as you pick skills, it changes your dialogue options. So I was like power hungry guy, picking up all the power skills, right? I got to an area where I could either talk to somebody and figure it out or just kill motherfuckers. It grayed out the area for me to talk to them.
Oh, interesting. So it closes off, off options based on what you got. Okay.
I've never seen that in a game either. I'm like, I kind of didn't like it that I didn't have the option, but I was like, oh, I get it. I have to I made my bed,
Right. I mean, other games do that. For example,
Really?
like if you are like in Wasteland 3, right, where if you do not have, I think they have like suave and like intimidation or something, and also charisma, I believe. So like if you have a low charisma, some of those options are not there. But if you are like a suave talker, you can swing people one way.
Right.
But if you don't have those points, it just is grayed out, and so you can't see it.
But
you can't do it.
Yeah, but that's more 1-for-1. See, what I'm saying in this game, it's not telling you what you're going to lose or gain.
Right. Right. It just kind of just auto does it for
It
you.
auto does it, and it bases it on the word power, finesse, anarchy, and order. So it bases it on a word. So like it's kind of a disservice. I picked like I want more armor. It didn't mean that I wanted to be like burly and like not listen to people. See what I'm saying? Like I picked armor.
Okay, yeah, that makes sense. Like if you're talking about a physical attribute, and then all of a sudden you're just like a hard-headed.
That's what it was.
Yeah.
And I picked like defense, and I was like, "Ooh, I'm getting better at my defense." And I walked up to the guy, and he's like, "I'm not talking to you. You're scary." So
interesting.
It's
okay.
all of these. My review is kind of like interesting, but holy shit, I'm still playing it because yeah, like you said, 20 years ago, I was like wanting King's Bounty 2. So I'm gonna finish this fucking game. So there's no ifs, ands, or buts.
All right, fair enough. We will check back in, and I may give this a whirl myself. We'll have to see. I have been wanting a strategy game, and nothing I've tried lately has scratched the itch. So maybe this will be it, but we'll see. So,
okay.
King's Bounty 2. I believe it's available on basically every platform. Where are you playing it right now?
I am playing it on PlayStation. Yes, PS4.
Okay, cool. All right, moving on. 2 more games, and then we're gonna bounce. First up, Aliens Fireteam Elite. This is the new shooter, team-based shooter.
Oh,
you
yeah.
have a team of 3.
Yeah.
Set in the Aliens universe, which I'm sure most people listening to this podcast are probably at least somewhat familiar with. It's a squad-based shooter, squad of 3. You go into these areas that are inspired by the various Aliens films. You, of course, shoot a whole bunch of aliens while you check off objectives. There is a storyline about, it's the same storyline. Hey, we're scientists and we're fucking around with the aliens, and oopsie, we unleashed the aliens and now we're in the shit. I mean, I have not finished the game, so maybe there's more to it than that, but it starts out as pretty typical alien storyline. And the graphics are okay. It is a third-person shooter behind the back, so it's not first-person, which I appreciate. I like to see my own character when I'm doing a shooter. I know some people like first-person. I'm not that guy. I like third-person better. So they all look like pretty generic, space marines or whatever, colonial marines, excuse me. They're all wearing kind of the gear that you would expect to see from the movies, the helmets and the guns. The guns have that very unique alien rifle, pulse rifle sound to them.
Yeah.
Kind of a high-pitched sound to it. That's fine. You can choose between 4 classes from the beginning. It's like a medic, a engineer, a heavy gunner, and like a regular gunner. You can either play by yourself. If you play by yourself, you get 2 synthetic humans to go with you. If anybody remembers from the movie, there were a number of synthetic humans.
Yep.
Those people will be your buddies, or you can have up to 2 other live friends and connect online and go through these missions. Excuse me. I went through the entire first chunk of levels where you go into like this, this research facility, kind of gray hallways, and it just looks like generic sci-fi environment. And I gotta say, so far, not loving it, not really loving it. The guns handle something's weird about it. I feel like I am not comfortable when I'm shooting. I feel like when I'm holding the trigger to look down the sights, I feel like I'm not seeing enough, and it's hard because the aliens are very mobile, and it's really tough to get a beat on them. But when I am zoomed out, it's really hard to aim specifically, and so I'm kind of doing like a spray and pray kind of a thing.
Jeez.
Not a great feeling. And I've been trying to adjust the settings, like, the camera speed and the movement of the camera, and I just can't get it to a place where I feel like it's natural. So that's a little bit of a problem because all you're doing in this game is shooting. So that's kind of a problem. Beyond that, it just feels, honestly, kind of boring. It reminds me a lot of World War Z. Did you ever play World War Z?
Yeah.
The game?
Mm-hmm.
I actually thought World War Z was pretty good, better than I thought it was going to be. But it follows the same structure where you have like a basic world, and then each world is broken up into like 3 missions or so. And then as you go into each mission, it advances the story, and then by the time you get to the 3rd mission, that wraps up the whole world. So that's an okay thing. As you're in these missions, there are these little micro objectives. So like you start the mission, and it's like, okay, get to the data center, and there's like a little dot on your map or something. You got to get there. Of course, a bunch of aliens attack you, and in this game, there's like so many aliens, like way too many, dude, like way too many. It's a problem because I don't know exactly how they would have solved that. Because if it's just one alien, like for example, Alien Isolation, he's like this unstoppable force, and it's something that you have to hide from. That's a pretty cool mechanic, but that wouldn't work here, right? if you're with a team of 3, you're going to be expecting to do a lot of shooting, as in Aliens 2, the second movie. But there's like, it's too much. Like every 5 seconds, it feels like you're shooting a crowd of like 100 of them.
Jeez.
And it's just like constant, like you never get a breath. And it feels like there's not really anything else going on. Like you get to your objective. Here's the data center. Okay, push a button. Okay, now we get to this next ping on our map. What's there? I don't know. Just push a button. Like you're not doing anything interesting other than shooting aliens. And there's like way too much shooting, and the shooting doesn't really feel that great.
Yeah.
So it's kind of a problem. You run out of ammo a lot. And I gotta say, I don't really like the classes very much. The person who uses the heavy gunner is, I think, my favorite one, because you can unlock a flamethrower, and you can unlock the really famous like heavy gun that you see in Aliens 2, like the auto targeting minigun that the characters have in that movie, which is cool. And it helps because it auto targets, and it really helps crowd control, because I find it very hard to shoot the aliens in this because they're small, the guns don't feel good, and they just run all over the place. So I like that class, but you need to have like a healer, and you need to have like the technician guy has like the auto turrets that can help you when you're in like a crowd control situation. But it just doesn't feel good. I want to like mix and match weapons a little bit more, and it feels like I'm kind of limited by class, and I don't feel like the classes are really great. Also, a lot of the stuff is locked, and thankfully there's no microtransactions, but you have to grind. Like I got to the end of the first world, and I could buy a helmet, which does nothing for you. It's just like cosmetic. And I think I bought like one gun or something, and like one gun unlocked, but there's like all these other guns that I'm like, well, I want to try these other ones. Like, which one's a better fit for me? I want to change the way my person feels, Like I played the doctor a lot because I like to be able to heal my teammates. But the doctor has like the standard rifle and a pistol. But I'm like, I hate the pistol. The pistol fucking sucks. I want to change it to something else. Can I get a shotgun? Nope. Can I get like some kind of like SMG or something? Nope. Gotta have a pistol. Well, like pistols fucking suck. And I don't, I guess the point is to not have one super class where you can heal people and wield the heaviest weapons. I get it, but at the same time, like it feels kind of narratively false that I'm on this squad of Marines and I can't pick which gun I want to use.
Yeah, they can't just like hand another one to you, like, hey, take this extra assault rifle.
Yeah, like you're not picking up any weapons in the field, so whatever you show up with is what you get. So it's not like you're picking up things. And I gotta say, just the combat is just really boring. Like you walk for a few feet. 100 aliens swarm at you, like on the ceilings and the floor, down the hallway. You're shooting them, and then you go like another 30 seconds, another swarm of 100 comes, and it's just like it's kind of dull, dude. Like it just feels like you're just doing swarm shooting without really doing much else.
Yeah.
Now this contrasts with World War Z, right? Because this is basically the exact same game as World War Z. One has zombies, one has aliens, but I think the difference with World War Z is that they had the set pieces kind of set up better, and along the way, like you could just like run past zombies. Like you kind of do a little bit more teamwork, and it felt like you were not just doing crowd control the entire time. Like sometimes you're just trying to get someplace in a hurry. Sometimes you're like a little bottleneck, so you got to clear this up, and then you keep running. And you're kind of like sometimes you have to split up a little bit and do some things. And maybe those things are in this game, but I haven't seen any of those so far. And by the end of the first world, I was playing with my wife, and I'm like, I'm kind of bored of this. What do you think? She's like, yeah, this is like super boring. So neither one of us was really into it, and we're both like big fans of the franchise, and we're both like, we play team games like this all the time. It's kind of our jam, and neither one of us was really feeling it. So I feel like they just kind of missed the boat somewhere. Like there could have been something different about this formula, the way that you fight the aliens, maybe less aliens, but they're harder, or maybe like give us something else to do while we're shooting the aliens. It just feels like running through hallways, shooting crowds of aliens, and it got really old.
It's funny because you bring up World War Z, and now I'm remembering that I did have some fun with that game. Because
it's not a bad game.
No, because of the set pieces, like you said, right? Like one was like a train, or like not train, but like a subway thing, and it was a mall and stuff. And I was like, oh, this feels like I'm in the world, and I've got to worry about stuff. Yes, there were kind of in quotes swarms at times.
Oh, sure.
It was more strategic. I remember this one scene in a mall, and I was like on the second floor.
Exactly,
they came in all through the main windows or doors, and I was like planning it with like explosives or something. I don't know. It felt fun, like. This is a review for World War Z. Go back and play it. So, but when you talked about this game, though, I remember like looking at it in like I don't know, pre-release images or something, and I was like, "Oh, that looks boring." So you just kind of told me what I thought about when I saw the pictures of it.
Yeah, it's a shame. It's a real shame because I think we just haven't really gotten that perfect Aliens game yet, and that franchise seems like it's so ripe. But man, something about it is just poison. really difficult for developers to capture the magic of that IP. So I do not think it's this game. I don't think I'm probably going to finish it. I'm already getting kind of bored of it, and I know my wife is for sure bored of it. So yeah, I just feel like it's too safe. It's too boring. Just doesn't feel good. Doesn't feel interesting. So there you go. Aliens, Fireteam, Elite, and for people who are interested in the idea of going up in a squad and doing something, World War Z is actually coming out with a brand new version with a couple new levels and some new content and some new next gen features. If you've never played World War Z, I think that's actually a very underrated game. I think it's really good. It's a great weekender. It's not something that you want to come back and grind, but you can blast through it over a couple days with a friend, and I think it's a really fun campaign. So I recommend World War Z.
So this is a review for that game, actually. It's like re-review. Go check out World War Z.
All right, last game of the show. Phew. We're closing strong, Carlos, because
are we?
Full disclosure, spoiling it right off the bat, I love this next game. It is so good. I am totally in love with Black Book. I've been talking about it on Twitter.
Right.
You and I don't know did we both play the demo when it was on the Xbox Summer Game Demo Fest?
No, I missed it. I missed it on the Demo Fest. I saw it. I wanted to play it. I have thoughts about it. I've definitely watched its like a little bit of its progress. And was it early access or something? I don't know.
It was kickstarted for a while. It had a pretty Kickstarter that was going around. A lot of support from the fans.
But I'm excited to hear what you have to say. Obviously, you like it. But yeah, tell us about it.
Man, so Black Book, when we played the demo, so full disclosure, I did kickstart this back in the day. And I don't know if I'm using that code. I did get in touch with the developers later on. They sent me an extra code. So I think I might be playing the developer code they sent me. But regardless, I did kickstart it. So full disclosure there. We did play the demo on the Xbox Summer Demo Fest. And man, when I played the demo, I was like, maybe this isn't great. I wasn't really won over. Like I could see some potential, but it seemed really rough. I was really confused by some elements. I just felt like it didn't come together very well, and I kind of cooled off on it. So I was like, whatever. It came to Game Pass, so Black Book is on Game Pass right now. It's also on all of the Switch. It's on the PlayStation. It's on PC. And I'm like, okay, well, I should probably give it a shot. I mean, I did kickstart this, and I was interested in general, so demo not great, but I'll just try the full version here on Game Pass. And I got to say, they changed a lot between the demo and the final version. Stuff that really made a big difference to me. And actually getting the chance to play the full version just won me over immediately. So that I guess that's one knock against demos, is if it's not the greatest demo, it can kind of cool you off on the whole thing. And the whole thing might be a lot better, you never know. So I will say the full version was much better than the demo showed. The basic premise is that, okay, so let me back up a little bit. This is about Slavic myths, folktales, legends. It's something that we don't get a lot of here in the West. And if people don't know exactly what I'm talking about, think of like The Witcher 3. So like The Witcher 3, that world where they had all these kind of monsters that we don't really see, like the drowners.
Yeah.
And the weird monsters in the woods, and like all the little myths and legends that Geralt was dealing with. It was a big part of Witcher 3 where he had to like learn the monsters' strengths and weaknesses, a lot of stuff in the in-game encyclopedia, stuff to learn about. Like all that stuff a lot of it was taken from Slavic myths and legends, and because The Witcher 3 is from Poland, right? I believe Black Book is from Russia, I'm pretty sure. So kind of that same-ish neck of the woods. I don't want to stereotype or anything because I don't know a lot about it, but a lot of the same monster types, a lot of the same things are in this game. And you start off as a girl. Her fiance, I guess, dies under mysterious circumstances. And so she wants to bring him back to life. She's got 40 days to bring him back to life. And if she doesn't, he's lost like to hell forever.
Damn.
So what she does is she's like, well, I need some power to bring my fiance back. Her grandfather is kind of like a witch. In this game, they're called knowers. So you're a knower if you know like the black magic or you know about devils and witches and stuff like that. He takes her to like a crossroads at midnight, and he's like, if you want this power, you got to make a deal with like the devil and become a witch. Give up your soul. It's what you got to do. And she's like, cool, I'm down.
Wait, give up your soul?
She's got to do it. Well, okay, so I'll get into it in a second.
Okay.
So she's like, yes, I will go. I'll literally go to hell. I will talk to what is basically Satan, and I will like get the darkness power. I will like work with demons, and I will do all this thing, and I will carry around this just giant magic black book with me because I want to bring my fiance back. But I will do all this stuff. She's like, yes, I'm all about it. And she does, like, just for real, just like fucking does it. No hesitation, which is crazy.
Crazy.
From the American perspective, but from the Slavic perspective, or like from the Russian perspective, pretty normal thing. Like they're like, yeah, this is just like what you do. This is like a fact of life.
This is what you do.
It's one of the most incredible things about this game is the culture. The cultural exposure I'm getting from playing this game is just like a revelation, because she is a woman who has basically like dealt with Satan to get these powers, and she's doing witchcraft, but at the same time still believes in God, still believes in like Christianity, still says like God bless you and helps people. And the duality of that feeling, on the one side, you are literally doing like evil deeds, but at the same time, you're helping people and you're doing good deeds, and both of those things exist in this person at the same time. And there's like no real contradiction. It's just like a blend. It's kind of this giant like acceptance and recognition that no person is one thing. Like everybody is like both things, and just that duality is just like the nature of existence, right?
Interesting.
It's so fucking interesting to get that content from some perspective that is absolutely not American. Like nothing about this game is American, like at all, and I love it.
Yeah, can I just stop you right there? Because I would say that that's one thing that threw me off, or like turned me off from the beginning. And I'm sure a lot of people who might like, I don't know, I'm just not down with like the idea of hanging out with Satan and doing things with him. Even in video game form, believe it or not. Like it's just like, I don't know. I have a aversion. I have an aversion
sure.
to not just like witchcraft happens in video games and stuff, but like this style, you know?
Sure.
But you saying that is much more intriguing, to know that she has kind of that duality on the both sides of her.
Oh my God, dude. It is so interesting. I love seeing this perspective because it is not anything that we would traditionally get in the West. That acknowledgement that sometimes you must do evil things to get a good result, or vice versa. I mean, just the ability for her to say in one town, I'm cursing you, whatever, bad farmer, because of you pissed me off, or because someone paid me to curse you, which is an evil deed. Like, you know, causing someone's cow to wither and die and his family's going to starve because someone gave you $10 is a fucking evil deed. But in the very next step, she's like, oh, there's somebody who's sick. I'm going to heal them with my witchcraft powers. And they're going to pray to Jesus and God. And I'm going to be like, yes, I totally believe in God too. Like, back and forth, like swings back and forth. And it just totally works. I love just that whole concept, that whole worldview. It's fucking amazing. So there's that. You're also getting exposed to like all of these like myths and legends and monsters and folktales and fairy tales from that region, which I'm not very familiar with at all, because we don't really get those that often. I don't have any cultural exposure myself. I'm not from like a Russian family or a Slavic family, so I don't know that stuff. But like the game is often have like a information pop up as like, oh, look this up in the encyclopedia if you want, and like there's an in-game encyclopedia, and I'm reading it like constantly, dude. Like they give you like these little folk tales, they give you like definitions of some of the words. If you forget what some of the words are, you can hit a button and it tells you the definition right there, so you kind of like follow along with the story. That was one of my concerns with the demo, was like I had no real cultural context for a lot of this stuff, and I wasn't sure what a lot of these words even meant. And so in this final version, they give you a lot of that information, which helps paint the entire picture, which is great. So basically, you go out through the countryside and you help people with their problems, in a sense very much like The Witcher 3. But instead of doing combat in real time, you're using deck building mechanics, and you're casting spells. So you have this black book, which I guess is like, you know, from the devil or something. And each page is like a different spell. The deck building mechanic, I think, is really, really, really well done. I think it's great. I'm not going to get too far into it, but basically you kind of flip through the book, pick the pages that you want, and cast a spell. And some of the pages interact with the other pages. Some of them are black pages, and some of them are white pages, which are like, you know, black spells and white spells, good spells, evil spells. You can do a lot of demonic stuff. You can do a lot of like, you know, angelic stuff. It kind of goes back and forth. Sometimes you're doing both at the same time. Sometimes they counteract each other. Sometimes they help each other. It's a really cool system that interacts with like the general view of the game itself. And you're constantly running into this whole, I am both. I can choose either one of these things. I am deciding what I want to do right now. And in many cases, either way is fine. I haven't got to the end of the game. I'm pretty deep in it. I mean, I'm probably more than halfway. The campaign is a lot longer than I thought it was going to be. So it's a pretty significant campaign. But if you can imagine Witcher 3, like being a Witcher, but instead of fighting, you just go from town to town with your book. And when these farmers want your help, or you hear about a ghost in the woods, or the fish have disappeared from the river, you got to go see if you can get the fish back, or weird fires are happening, what's causing the fires, like you're investigating all these problems. And you just like solve them through whatever means, whether you can consult demons for help, you can destroy the demons, you can look in your book for spells, or you can try to look for like a more mundane option. It's just really, really cool. And I'm learning so much about like that part of the world. It's very fascinating. All these little traditions and superstitions and rules that you didn't know about. I'm learning all about like Russian architecture that has an important part in the game. The different like hierarchies of demons in the world is like super fascinating. It's all really really great stuff. I love it. And the other part of it is like a lot of this is done through visual novel style. So like you get to a town, they give you a choice, like, and it says they'll read you a little vignette, a little story. Oh, you got to a town and there's a guy here and he's starving and his wife says she feeds him all the time but he never gets fatter and he never gains weight. What do you want to do? And then there's like 4 choices and then you just kind of choose which one. If you don't know these myths and legends, there's a button you can push that will kind of like give you some cultural context at the cost of like half the experience you would earn. So
Oh, that's interesting.
You can either guess it if you want to, and there's a lot of resources. You can read all the shit in the encyclopedia. Most of the answers are found in the encyclopedia if you read them. But if you don't want to read them, you can just push this button, and it'll give you like some knowledge that'll help you solve the problem. But you get less experience for doing it. So they kind of encourage you to kind of read about this stuff and learn about it. But like most of the situations are visual novel style, where you're just kind of reading a story, making a choice, reading a story, making a choice. Sometimes you're in an open world where you're kind of looking around a little bit. All the environments are pretty small. But then you have a lot of characters you're interacting with, a lot of story, a lot of history, a lot of the stuff circles back. The themes are great, the world is great. I think the card battling I think is really really good, really strong. The only thing I will say as a negative, what are some negatives? I think it starts off a little bit rough, and I think a lot of people might play the first 20 minutes and kind of bounce off it because the graphics as you're walking around as the person are pretty low poly, and I think if you don't play further and to see how it goes and how they use that as an art style, you may think it just looks cheap. I think it looks actually really cool once I got into it, but when I first saw it, I'm like, oh, this looks like really rough, and I don't know about this. But I would say just hang with it because it all comes together into like a cohesive style once you get a bit further in. But it starts rough. I will say that. I will also say that the spells in your book, sometimes you can get into trouble when you're not really sure exactly what the cards mean. So I'm sure this is created by a team from Russia or a team from that part of the world, translated into English. A couple of the words maybe don't come across exactly how they are meant to. And so I would have to I would think like, well, I thought this card was going to do this thing, but that didn't happen. Okay, well, what does it really mean? And so, I figured it out with just a little bit of trial and error, and it's not been a problem at all. But because you can redo the battles and you don't really lose anything, it's no problem. But just that kind of a thing where in a deck builder, it's very specific about the words and how the cards interact.
Yeah.
Once you get over that little bit of a learning curve, I think it's totally fine. And I really do like this system a lot. I think it's easy to understand, but there's also a lot of depth and nuance to it. It's definitely more nuanced than something like Cardaclysm, where there's more to it and you got to be like way more strategic about it. But at the same time, you can put it on easy mode, and it's like a total pushover. If you want more challenge, you can up the difficulty. I think there's 4 difficulties, and the higher difficulties are incredibly hard. So there's definitely challenge here if you want it. But for me, the greatest thing about this game is just like the cultural exposure, learning about this world, this approach to this character, how she gets through, and just dealing with all these little situations in a Witcher style, where sometimes what you think is the right answer is totally not the right answer because you got to look through this Slavic lens, right? And like things that make sense over there don't necessarily make sense over here. Not that one is right or wrong, but just like the different mores, the different upbringing, the different history. It's fucking so fascinating, dude. I am just like loving this game. It is so great. Shit like this is what I live for as a critic because it is bringing me so many new experiences, so many new ideas, so much new perspective. I'm just like eating this shit up with a spoon, dude. I fucking love it.
Really quick, going back to the point of you said you can, like lose battles or something like that. Is there like a death thing? Can you actually die and have to save and load and that kind of stuff?
Oh yeah, you can save as much as you want. There's no limits on the save. And also the game is very upfront about telling you if you die, like the game doesn't autosave until you go to a new location. And that makes sense with how you see the map and stuff. I'm not going to bore you with the details here, but that's really important because if you get to a location and die, you simply reload. You're back where you were. You didn't lose anything. You restart. But if you move on to the next location, whatever you did is locked in permanently. So as long as you don't move on to the next location, you can replay that battle 1,000 times and you don't lose anything, just over and over and over until until you get the ending that you want or until you win the battle the way you want to win it. So it's very forgiving, and also there's like tons of saves. You can save as much as you want. They're not in it to punish you at all. I mean, you can die. You can definitely lose battles. Monsters can kill you. You can make wrong choices and die. So that is all possible. But they're not here to punish you. Like, they don't want you to get discouraged and quit. They want you just to learn the lesson and move on. So you can easily go back and redo things if you fail.
All right. So, and then the other thing is that I'm with you on that thing, especially with Witcher. That's one probably like the most easy example of like learning about stuff, from different parts of the world.
Yeah.
And then there's tons of other games like that. Like just even small studios will do an indie game and we'll get like some of that through the development, or the world.
Yeah.
Like it'll just come across. It's not supposed to be like a learning lesson, but it's just because, again, getting games from different parts of the world. So I'm with you. I want more of that. I love it. And I'm going to re-give this game a look now that your glowing review is up.
Oh, man, I love it. I just full disclosure, dude, this is guaranteed going to be on my top 10 of the year. It's like a lock. There's no way this is not going to be in my top 10. So I would recommend anybody listening, if anything I've said about this sounds interesting, just go into it like it's not a huge budget game. It was a Kickstarter game. So, like, a couple rough edges here and there. But, like, the stuff that it gets good, it is wonderful. And I live for this stuff. This is so great. I wish we got stuff that was as fresh and as interesting as this all the time. So check it out. It's on Game Pass. If you got Game Pass, try it and you don't lose anything. Otherwise, it's on every other system, I believe. So, Black Book, I love it.
Groovy. We're done. Oh, wait.
We're done. Oh, what? You got something?
I have something, even though this is like a long episode, I think.
What do you got? What do you got?
I don't want. I have to mention this at the end of the podcast because we talk about all the podcast news. These are three things that I wanted to mention about the Gamescom. Then we'll actually talk about it later in another episode.
Go ahead. Yeah, go for
They're
it.
bringing back Saints Row.
Oh yeah, I heard about it. I did not see the trailer though.
Yeah, it's there's not really a gameplay trailer. There's like a really quick teaser. It's mainly just cinematic, but the idea is they're bringing it back, which is fun. Like I love that game. It's fun, ridiculous.
Oh
GTA.
yeah, I'm a fan.
Riders Republic beta is open right now.
Okay.
Which I've been talking about that game on the show all the time. So
you did.
I'm excited to play it. Like as soon as we're done here, I'll probably go boot it up. And lastly, Halo got a release date.
What is the release date? Halo Infinite, you mean?
Halo Infinite got a release date, and it is this year. They are going to try to pull it off. One-player campaign that we haven't seen, December 8th.
Cool, if you like Halo.
Yeah. And again, I like open world games, and if I would buy just to play the campaign. But it's just weird that, of course, we haven't seen it yet. Really.
Right. Yeah.
Anywho, just I mentioned that. Let's wrap this show up.
Let's wrap this up. All right, folks. Thank you so much for listening. As always, we want your questions and comments. Hit us up, sovideogamespodcast@gmail.com. We're on Twitter collectively @sovideogames. But you can hit us up individually. Carlos, where are we directing your traffic this week?
Just go to TikTok and search for A Lot of Things Comedy, or Instagram. It's A Lot of Things. And it's the whole thing. It's a lot of things.
It's a lot of things.
Yeah.
All right, there we go. As for me, same as always, Twitter, Instagram, it's my name, BradGallaway, all A's, no O's. And that's going to do it for episode 247. Thank you all again for joining us here on the So Video Games podcast, and we'll see you next Friday. But in the meantime, this is bye from Brad.
This is bye from Carlos. I said it like you said it.
That's weird.
Wait, I want to say the other thing you said. And 50% of this year's show, I fucked it up. It does take a lot of work to do that.
It's hard to say that. I fuck it up half the time.
Hold on.
It's very difficult.
And 50% of this year's show. Yeah, it is hard.
It's very tough to say that. It's bizarrely difficult.
And this show's over.